Rob, another trip down to the south coast. Just how relentless has this week in particular been?
Yeah, but look, that's the game, innit? So it's enjoyable. And look, we get a bit of a break after this as well. Not the ones that go on international duty, but we get a couple of days, so it's no problem. We're well looked after. We travel well, and so it is what it is, and we look forward to it.
And speaking of travelling, this week you've sent out letters to fans who have made or planning on making both journeys. Just talk to us a bit about why you decided to do that and how important that was for you to do.
I think we've tried to talk about the supporters a lot from day one. We wanted to build a rapport and a connection, and the supporters need to feel that we really value them, and I genuinely do, and it's not lost on me the commitment to travel, and in such great numbers and such great distance. I've been speaking to one or two people, even if I eat, around the corner, or even at the clubhouse, and one of the guys, a fan in there, and told me how much the train tickets were, and told me how much, and had to stop over and do this and the other. It's a huge commitment, and it's a massive outlay. People work really hard, and to spend a lot of money then on following their football team because it's their passion and they care. We need to show that it means a lot to us, and that we're very thankful for that.
Is that something you've done before? Because I think it certainly doesn't strike any bells with me of Borough managers in the past who have done that, and I imagine obviously fans have taken to it really well.
No, it's not what I've done before. I mean, I've not, suppose, been a head coach or manager of a football club where the distance is so great and the travelling distances are so great so often. But it was something that, between us all, we all felt we needed to recognise this, the commitment of our fans, and in return, I know they'll bring the noise, and hopefully then we can give them a good performance and something to sing about as well.
One other thing you might have to contend with is Storm Amy. I just wondered if, without getting all Paul Mooney weatherman about it, I just wondered if that has factored into your thinking ahead of the trip down to Portsmouth.
No, I'm aware of Storm Amy, but no, hopefully it doesn't interfere with our plans or travel plans or anything too much. I'm really hoping so. We have a nice, smooth journey down.
Let's hope so. And Portsmouth, obviously, at Fratton Park, a difficult few weeks for them. No win in 4. I think they've conceded 6 in the last 3 now. But as I'm sure you will agree, it's often at times like that you have to be really, really careful against opposition.
We're doing every single game, and we'll treat every game as always with the utmost respect. And look, they're a really challenging team to play against, especially at home. I think their fans are a really good set of fans. They're boisterous, and they make that place quite intimidating at times. So we've got to be ready for that. We don't want to give them, really any oxygen to try and to allow them to enjoy that even more. The supporters. So we need to make sure that we play our game and do it well. John's a really good coach. He's won a league title. They're batting above their average. They've got some really, really good players, and they play them well. And they're a really difficult team to play against. So we respect them, and it'll be a big challenge for us again away from home. But one we're looking forward to. We've prepared well. We've got a good plan, and we've got a good group of players that are motivated to go and keep this run going.
And last game before the international break as well, how much emphasis is on getting to the international break with that unbeaten run still intact?
We're not talking about the run, but it's just the next game. We want to go and win the next game. That's it. So we're not focusing on keeping this, like I said, the run going. It's about, there's an opportunity here for 3 points for us, and that's all we can focus on right now. We do that by working extremely hard, and trying to carry out our jobs as best as possible. So that's the how, but what we want to try and achieve is a win tomorrow. That's it.
Is there a concern that you can get too bogged down in the run?
I think probably more will get said and talked about that than in the building in here. I don't think I've mentioned it once to the lads. I think you guys will talk about it more, and we will just concentrate on what comes next, because we've done some decent things so far. But again, if you just think, this is easy, or we can just turn up, and it doesn't work like that. So we've got to keep our focus and keep our feet on the ground and keep working hard.
Obviously, you have the game on Saturday to think about, so not discounting that in any way, but the international break is often a time where a time of reflection amongst fans, or maybe at football clubs as well, internally, about how they've done in the opening amount of games. And I just wonder, not necessarily on it, because clearly you've settled in well on the pitch, but what about off the pitch? How have you settled into life here?
Yeah, loving it. Yeah, really enjoying life up here. Miss my family a bit at times, which is understandable, but we get to see each other when we can. But the people up here are fantastic and welcomed us in, with open arms, and it's an amazing place to come to work. We're really, really lucky and really privileged to have this opportunity, and I don't intend to let it go lightly. So now I'm really enjoying my time up here.
And what's pleased you most up to this point about your team?
I think that we've shown a real resilience and a togetherness, a really good spirit. We've been good at times, we've been not so good in others, but then stuck together, and that's really important over the course of a season. So we've already had that in 8 games. So there's a lot more to come. We're going to play really well at times and not so well in others, and that's just how it works. But if we can commit to just sticking together, showing real grit and fight, then that can carry you a long way. And we had to do that at times in the second half the other night.
And speaking of the other night, I just wanted to mention Saul Brinney was our BBC Radio T Sport man of the match for the game against Stoke. How pleased have you been with him, and how impressed have you been with his development? Really
pleased and really impressed. I liked him anyway before we came in, and we sort of give them both the opportunity. And obviously it was Tom in pre-season as well to go and show us, go and earn the shirt and go and show us, and he really did. And I thought, in particular, the Rangers game, I thought he really stepped up, and I thought this he's an exciting young goalkeeper here, so and I think he's really grown in confidence and continues to impress. And like I've said, I think in the last few interviews, he keeps me calm, and I think for a goalkeeper to do that, I think that's it's a really good attribute to have.
And the relationship between him and his back three, the communication of all four, yeah, absolutely, seems to be second nature now.
Yeah, I mean, at times you're going to need your goalkeeper to get points and try and win games of football, then we're going to need him. But we want to try and protect him as much as possible. But that's not just the defence, that's the whole team. We really talk about that and value in defending as a group of 11. We defend with 11, try and attack with 11 as well. So it's a whole team thing. But it's nice we've kept 4 clean sheets so far. We want to try and keep that going. We want to be really difficult to score against, and obviously that gives us an opportunity to win games of football. So yeah, there's no doubt we're going to need Sol at times when they do break through, and he showed that the other night and stood up to it really, really well.
Just last 2 from me. On the back 3, back 4, I know last week you mentioned about when you came in, you sort of envisaged it being a back 4, and then you kind of assessed things and you went, no, actually, back 3, I think will suit us at the time being. Do you still see that evolving? Could you see that evolving more to a back 4, or do you think you are where you are now with the back 3 and you're happy with that?
Well, no. I mean, Southampton, probably, for a good chunk of the second half against Southampton, we were a 4. Obviously, the other night we started with a 4 and then became a 5 again. I want us to be adaptable and flexible within games, and we'll try and pick the right team or the right shape, if you like, that wins a game of football. So I'm very open to shifting that around, and the players get that as well. Our principles and everything that we want to try and do won't change, but sometimes we'll flip things tactically.
And just finally, team news. How is everybody? Any injured players back? Any who have been sidelined this week?
George is the one that misses out, unfortunately, after his coming off early the other night. So it looks like it is a hamstring injury. Probably could be around 5 to 6 weeks, unfortunately, for George. got that news today. And then and Callum Britton's fit again, so he's trained and he's in the squad.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Cheers.
Hi Rob, Adam Powell from the North. Hi. You spoke about the Stoke game and the resilience your guys showed. How do you build that? How do you create that?
Well, we can talk about it a lot and value it a lot. So whether that's people making an impact when they come off the bench, or whether that's showing clips of blocks or someone sprinting back 50 yards to make a tackle like Brownie did in the 93rd, 94th minute. Actually, Matt Targett before that, and then Brownie followed it up straight after. Those sorts of things are really important. So to reward that, to talk about it, to value it. It can't just get swept under the carpet and just talk about, oh, look at that great goal or whatever. You know, we need to value those things that aren't necessary. Not the people do see it, but some of those unseen things, I think that's really important to talk about and to show. And we just try and live it every day. So just try and talk about it every day. And I'll say the same stuff to you guys that I'm saying to the players on a daily basis. I think if we live it and train it every day, then it will hopefully become more second nature to us.
Okay, and you also spoke about this 8-game unbeaten run. How do you spoke about keeping players' feet on the ground. How do you achieve that?
Again, by valuing the basics and not getting carried away with anything. I think we need to just keep working extremely hard and talking about why we've done what we've done. We've done it because we've worked hard. We've not been perfect. We've not played. I've come out and I've said we've not played great in every single game. I know that. The second half of the night we weren't great, but we fought for each other and showed a lot of grit. So again, valuing just the basics of football. I think if you have a team that are willing to run and fight for each other and show heart and passion, then that team can beat just an organised team. If you can have that and the organisation together, then I think you've got a real winning team that can achieve something. So that's what we're aiming for.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Rob, a frustrating night the other night. And when you've looked back at the game with the players, what do you think it was that stopped you from getting that breakthrough?
Well, I think in the first half where we were dominant, we weren't good enough in certain moments in the final third, and whether that was an opportunity when we got behind to get the detail of the cross right, to arrive in the box with the right numbers. We had a couple of opportunities where we just slashed at things and didn't take maybe enough care with our finish. You know, we had the penalty moment that never was. So there was one or two things that maybe went against us. But ultimately it was down to us because we had enough momentum, we had enough quality, we had enough enough quality moments with the ball in good areas, but we didn't then convert that into working the goalkeeper enough. So that's on me, that's on us to be better, and we've spoken about that. And then the second half, I don't think then we really deserved to. We had Sonji's half a chance and one or two moments, but then Stoke were the better team in the second half. So it was a case of, okay, well, we're not going to win this game. We'll still try to, but we'll have a better chance of winning this game if we don't concede. So then it was right. Let's make sure we'll get Dale on and we'll block things up a little bit as well, because I think everyone in the crowd sensed that at that moment it was the right thing. I don't really like, at home especially, taking maybe a midfielder off and putting a defender on when we're not winning. But looking back at it, I think it was the right thing to do.
The referee come under a lot of criticism the other night. What's your overall opinion of the referees in the Championship this year? It's
a difficult job. You're not going to catch me out on this one now. It's a difficult job.
Worth a try.
Yeah, look, it is. I genuinely mean that. We're not going to get things that go our way. Sometimes we'll get something that does. And I really believe that we should have had a penalty the other night, but we didn't get it. And I need to make sure I'm on the touchline in the next game. So I'll always try and be balanced with it and not blame the officials. I'll try and look at what we could have been and we could have done better to win the game.
This week's marked the 100th day here at the Borough for you.
Oh, wow.
What do you think the first report card would say of your 100 days here, Rob?
I don't know. It's gone all right. Yeah, it's gone all right. Look, it's been good. If you can plan 100 days and sort of that, people in interviews might ask you what your first 100 days look like. It's sort of like it's a bit of a Carlsberg one.
Thanks.
All right. Other beers are available, obviously.
Rob, just picking up on the injury stuff, I know the other night you mentioned Gale and getting him them minutes that you did was important for him, and then it was important to manage the rest of the week for him to be ready for Saturday. How has that gone?
Yeah, good. We backed off him a little bit yesterday. He wanted to try and do a little bit more, so that's a good sign. Leave him wanting a little bit more. So he's in a good spot.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, you've spoken there about the formation, and obviously on Tuesday night you flipped to the back four, as you said you would at times. Did particularly the first half performance and how you managed that, did that kind of reinforce, if you like, the confidence that you have that your side are able to do that?
Well, we are, and a lot of the lads are used to it. They played it for a long time here before, the lads that have been here before, and the majority of players normally grow up within a back four anyway, so I don't think we're asking them to do anything that's too foreign. We obviously we prepared for it as well, so we do all the work as normal, and I liked a lot of the performance in the first half as well, so it does show that we've got that. I like the performance in the second half of Southampton when we did it, so yeah, it gives me a lot to think about going into this game as well, which is great. But we'll always what's encouraging, and people are maybe talking about it as well now that we're able to in game we can change and try and become something else to win the game, which is important.
Yeah, and you've spoken also there about the attacking side of it and not quite being able to make the breakthrough against Stoke. And you mentioned you spoke to the players about that since. I mean, as coaches, how can you kind of make that impact to get that going as you want it at the time?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, sometimes when you've got game, like we have in this week, you can't do as much as you'd like on the grass. So we had a meeting about it, showed a few bits and talked about it in a little bit more detail. What I would expect, this is where I want us to try and get the runners to. If we get behind them, this is what I'm expecting in this moment, rather than maybe being a bit safe, we need to be able to take some risks. So we went through that more in a meeting, rather than able to do too much out in the grass. But when you have a little bit more time in between, like we will do in the international break, this probably gives us an opportunity to look at and focus on some of that in a little bit more detail.
Just kind of following up on that, maybe, Robbie, you basically had a new look defence and you've had a new look attack from the summer, really. From the outside of this, you might tell me this is absolute nonsense, but it feels like it's maybe easier to make quicker progress with the defence, because a lot of that is structural, a lot of that is repetition, a lot of that is doing the right thing, whereas the attack feels a bit more maybe off the cuff. The players have to learn. Is that kind of fair?
Yeah, I think it's fair. Yeah, I think it's fair, and we've probably got more newer players higher up the pitch as well, as I would say, so it might take them a little bit more time to gel and understand what we want. But I think that's fair. I think. So I heard someone, I can't remember who it was, using this analogy the other week. You want to build a lovely house, it can take a lot of time. It won't take long to knock it down. Do you know what I mean? So you can sort of, in terms of defending, you can disrupt, you can be organised, and you can do a lot of work on that, which we needed to do. But then the artists have got to try and they got to find their way then as well. But we do need to have some. Like, these are our sort of rules and non-negotiables that we want in certain areas of the pitch as well, which we can. There's no doubt we've got work to do, no doubt about that. So yeah, I would take that point. Yeah, I agree.
At Portsmouth this weekend, Sammy Silvera obviously had a really difficult loan spell at Portsmouth. He then came back and had really another difficult loan spell in League One, and at that stage you wondered how he was going to kind of bounce back from that. What do you think it says about him that he's dealt with all of that as a young player in an overseas country? And when you first came in, I know when we first sat down with you said everyone's got a clean slate, but it felt like he was potentially a long way kind of from below where he would want to be, and yet he's got there. How has he done that with you, and what do you think it says about him as a character?
It says a lot. Brilliant attitude, brilliant human being, love Sammy to bits. He's one of your favourites, isn't he, Juicy, as well? We like Sammy, and he's but a brilliant human being. I think what I like about Sammy is he's flexible. So he's come on at right back the other night, after 2 or 3 minutes, which that's not easy to do. And I was a right back or a centre half by trade. I would have found that hard to. But he's just come on and done it and helped us keep a clean sheet. He works extremely hard. But that discussion that we had really early on, when he talked about how much he wanted to be and be a part of it, and that really struck a chord with me. So I said, right, come on, now's your chance. You got your opportunity. Just go and show us, and that's what he's done.
And when we talk about loans, like, managers will sometimes say a bad loan can actually be a good loan. I mean, Hayden, didn't really kick a ball for Scunthorpe at times when they were going out the Football League, and yet look what he's come back immediately and done it. Is it, can young players almost learn more from going through quite difficult times at that stage of their career?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, there's no guarantee that you get a move and it's just going to work out. You hope it does, but you can always try and take something from any sort of situation, whether it be good or bad, whether you're playing loads of games or you're not. But for Sammy, it's just experience. And I've had it. We can put it all into our own lives, can't we? You lose games of football and it's tough, but the tough times don't last. But neither the good times. Life just carries on. And then you find a way and you get through it, and that's what Sammy's had to do. And at the moment, he's in a great spot where he's really happy, he's smiling, he's a big part of the group, and we love him.